Hey guys, Brad here. Just want to do a quick video on how we're hook up Vdrums, rolling Vdrums into EJamming for the EJamming folks that want to use drums. So it's my TD20 kit. Just want to show you here that we're going an instrument cable out of the mono jack of the TD20. So you don't need to run stereo to EJamming, just run mono. So the TD20 will sum the stereo for you into mono. Instrument cable off of the mono jack of the TD20 brain into an interface of your choice. I'm using the Focusrite Scarlett 8i6, so I have it plugged into the into interface number 1 or port number 1 instrument cable there, and it's got a volume input knob on it associated as well. Again, we're instrument level signal here, so it's going to be pretty hot, so you don't need to crank that too high. If you crank it too high, it starts to distort. And then just if your preference, if you'd like to talk to folks while you're jamming, I have just an SM58 microphone plugged into port number 2, XLR jack port number 2 on the Focusrite interface, right? So we'll switch to the video and I'll show you how so there's a couple of things I want to show you. My Focusrite interface actually has a little control panel associated with it. A couple of things we want to make sure we set in there, and your interface may vary here, but just remember that the TD20 or the Vdrums is actually an instrument level instrument, right? So it's not line level, it's instrument level. We have an instrument cable, not a speaker cable connected between those two, so make sure you use an instrument cable. And on the interface, I have the choice of these two ports in front. I'm either making them line level or instrument level. So again, port 1 is my drums, my Vdrums, so I have it set right here to instrument level, as you can see, instrument level. And then port 2, I just have a XLR microphone into. You can see the meter there in port 2. Set to line level. Okay, so make sure you have that set. This has got a lot of different routing things for low latency routing and stuff like that. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Again, if you have interface and you got sound off the interface from the computer, you're halfway set there. It wasn't intended to be a port forwarding tutorial here, but a lot of folks have problems with that in EJamming land. So let me show you really quickly what it looks like to set up a port forward. And again, your mileage may vary depending on what interface you have, but I'm using Verizon Fios, right? So where that is in Verizon Fios is under firewall settings. Gotta do a little warning here, and under port forwarding. And you can see there's already a port forward here in my list, right? So basically what you would do to port forward, here, I'll delete this and I'll show you how to do it again here. So let's delete that port forward. And so to port forward, you basically pick your IP address with the machine. Again, this is my Mac right there, 192.168.1.3. And application to forward is you want to choose custom ports. And we're using UDP. That's what EJamming uses, and it's port 26900. Sorry, helpful hint keeps popping up. 26900. Okay, so then we add that. Takes a second here, and you can see it's down there at the bottom. I don't know how long it tries to resolve for, but I manually force it to resolve, and there it is resolved. So again, my Mac port 192.168.1.3, destination port is 26900. Okay, make sure you apply that. Sometimes the router's config gets lost, and you have to do that a couple of times, but it usually keeps that configuration. All right, so once you've done that, let's look. Okay, now that we have a port forward set up on our router, we can go ahead and launch EJamming. Again, it's real important to actually have a wired Ethernet connection into your internet router, if at all possible. Trying to do this on Wi-Fi is just is not very good. So I have an Ethernet cable connected out of this iMac directly into that Verizon router, Fios router that we set up the port forward in. So as we launch EJamming, the most important thing, obviously, in EJamming is to see that both of your ports are open, the in and out port. So if this in port is blocked, you're going to have issues trying to do collaboration with anybody in EJamming. So make sure that that port forward is set correctly and you have both green lights open in and out. Sometimes if this is blocked, my experience is 9 times out of 10 that is a port forwarding issue for me. So if that port forward isn't in that Fios Verizon router, then that port will show blocked. But other folks have seen that blocked with maybe a Windows firewall or the Mac firewall is blocking that port. So you might want to temporarily disable the firewalls while you're using EJamming if that helps you fix that problem. Okay, so both ports are open. We're good to go there. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go into Preferences for EJamming and make sure that your audio interface is set up and correct. So under the Audio tab, you have an audio input and output source. So I have a lot of options here. Make sure that you have set the input and output to your particular interface that you're using. Again, as you saw from the beginning video that we're using the Scarlett Focusrite. So I've set the audio input and output to the Focusrite. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure the output pair is correct depending on where your speakers are connected. So if you want to hear this through your speakers, I have speakers connected to the output pair 1 and 2 of the Focusrite. It's got different options as well for output pairs, so 1 and 2. 24-bit recording depth, which is cool. And then you have the option of doing a few things for your input modes, what input channels you want people to hear. So you can just do a single channel if you'd like. So I could pick just channel 1 or channel 2, or a mixed channel or a stereo pair. So I have mixed because again, from the beginning of the video, I'm using both channels 1 and 2. Channel 1 is my Vdrums, and channel 2 is a microphone that I have so I can talk to folks. So if I want to be rude and not talk to anybody, I can just do single channel and put it to channel 1, which is my Vdrums, and that's all you would hear, and we'd have to just type with each other. But I find that if you can get 2 channels going, one is your instrument, and the second one is just a microphone that you can talk to folks with. That really does help. So that's it for the audio section. Session, the only thing to worry about in here is actually your jitter buffer, depending on who you're talking to and who you're playing with. You might need to adjust this if you hear some clicks and pops, right? So every time you adjust that, though, you do add extra delay into the path of the recording of the jam session. So just be careful with that. If you're getting clicks and pops, adjust that buffer up until the clicks and pops stop, but don't take it too much higher because you're going to introduce extra latency that way. Okay, so our audio settings is set up. We can go to the Sessions tab. As you can see, there's some people on here today. No one seems to have an open seat here, so I'll just create a session, which I go up and hit the new session, which you just saw. You can name it anything you want. You can give it a description. Session bandwidth. So if you have not a very good internet connection, you can change that to medium or low. I set it to high. You can do some other things like changing your track name. So if I wanted to say, if people come in, I could say, my instrument is drums, right? So create and join session opens up a session for me. This is what the session looks like. Again, I didn't intend this to be necessarily an EJamming tutorial on how to run EJamming. There's plenty of those, but just wanted to show you how we got Vdrums into EJamming. So here's my channel, and you can see just by talking into this microphone here, check 1 2, check 1 2, that the level on the left-hand side there, right there, is you're showing level. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Again, that's channel 2. That's my microphone. Seeing level into there. What I'll do is I'll just crank the drums up a little bit. I'll just run a little loop on the drums so you can see that. So again, that was just a little loop off of my drums. So that's really basically it. So I'm set up now to add seats and to jam Vdrums with other people in EJamming land. So hopefully that helped you guys get your Vdrums up and running. I am Brado32 on EJamming, so come on in and find me if you want to jam a little bit, or if you got any questions on setting this stuff up. All right, take care, you guys.